the walkthrough of the challenge document will be on YouTube starting now. If y'all are camera shy and don't want to be streamed and are afraid the manner is going to get you, you can disconnect now because the challenge doc is on Minting, and it's totally cool if y'all disconnect. But I recommend you don't, because I'm going to be dropping hints. I'm going to be talking about stuff. All of that's going to be lost. Just a heads up. Cool. So let me do desktop too. Here we go. If you haven't already done it, go over to Minting and click on Hiring Hackathon for Junior Developers right there. And when you click over here, you're going to see this familiar page. If you haven't clicked, well, if you haven't clicked that button over here, I don't know how you're here, but if you haven't registered already, register. And then go over to the Resources tab. And we're going to be building a Paint app today. What's a Paint app? Well, a Paint app is, well, Microsoft Paint. I think everybody's used MS Paint as a kid. So we're going to be building either Microsoft Paint, but in JavaScript, or we're going to be building a coloring book where you can click different areas of the screen and color them. That's bare minimum. And then how our hackathons all work, they're easy to learn, hard to master. How our hackathons all work is only the best projects are going to get the Minting star. Super important to know. So you can do this, as you know, either front end only, or you can do full stack. And you can do this with or without a designer. There are different requirements, but in a nutshell, you're going to be building one, your core application, and you can see the requirements over here. Two, you're going to be building a landing page, and that's super important. If you don't know where that landing page requirement is coming from, go over to the bottom of this page and click on the Hiring Hackathon guide. And when you click on that, it's going to take you to this page. You'll see how all of this works, and you can read everything over here. You can get to our Minting star scoring rubric. The Minting star is a very valuable certificate. It points you out as top 5% from our entire funnel of developers. It basically highlights you in front of all of our recruiter partners. And everyone who submits is a winner. So if you submit and it's a valid app and it's working, we're gonna also give you a Minting certificate of completion. Not everybody finishes the app. If you finish the app, you get a certificate of completion. That puts you in the top X% of developers, X being the percentage of people who actually submitted. Right now, it's floating around the 16% mark, so we put 16% over there. So as long as you submit, you're going to be highlighted as top 16%. As long as you build a good application, you're going to be highlighted as approximately top 5% with a Minting star. So certificate of completion and star. So finish the app and you get a certificate of completion. Make the app really good, you get a star. There's a whole scoring criteria for how you get the Minting star. You can take a look at it, and that'll tell you exactly what you need to build. Everything except for storytelling and personal branding is a group score. So developer experience, user experience, functionality, reliability, landing page, README, all of that is a group score. But storytelling and personal branding, this shows off your personal communication skills. This is a personal score. This is where you go and you actually show off your project on LinkedIn and or Twitter, and you write something about it. There's all sorts of requirements over there. If you have any questions at all, drop them in Discord, and I'll be happy to answer them all over there in Discord. I won't be answering questions about the rubric or the Hiring Hackathon guide over here, but feel free to ask questions in chat, and I'll try and respond to as many as I can. It's getting really loud in chat, so might not. You know what? Pay it forward, right? If you think you can answer a question, please answer them for me. Please help each other in chat. Don't wait for me to answer, especially if you've been here before and you know how all of this works. Just answer the questions in chat. It helps me and Navi out a lot. Keep it simple. And the first thing you should do is probably deploy. I recommend either Vercel or Netlify or GitHub Pages in that order. So, or whatever you're familiar with. So just make sure that you deploy first. Most problems come from deployment. They don't really come from anywhere else. Everything else is pretty standard. I don't think there's anything. Navi, I think somebody has their mic on. Do you mind finding that person and muting them, or if that person can mute themselves, I'd appreciate it. So how to build a landing page, right? Landing page. So you're going to build the core of your application, but you also have to build a landing page. If you don't build a landing page, your application doesn't get seen by recruiters. They don't know what to make of it. They think it's an unfinished product, and they don't really feel like you're a hireable talent. And all of your effort's going to go to waste. So it's not just for the hackathon. The landing page requirement is really here to help you land a job. This is probably the most valuable thing you'll do, even if you make like a simple core application. If you make your landing page beautiful, you'll probably score lots of points for that from recruiters, not from us, because there's only one requirement for landing page from us. But recruiters will love you, hiring managers will love you. Make sure you build a nice landing page. And thank you for muting the microphone. I appreciate that. It's super distracting when that happens. Here are examples of landing pages. So here's one landing page from a while ago. As you can see, it describes the application. You can probably follow the format. I see that it's starting to get broken. But you can see the format over here. Here's Mintrello. I love Mintrello's landing page. This is the Trello board. And this was something that was built a while ago. The app was actually really cool too. The link is inside the Hiring Hackathon guide, and you can take a look. But this is Mintrello, and this is Reactive Ladies, another landing page, very similar. And that's what we mean by a landing page. That's honestly, I don't think there's anything more that I can help you all with. Actually, I can help you all with a lot. So I'm going to be completely online and available for the entire week. I've booked most of my time off and kept my schedule super flexible. And I'm going to be caffeinated up to my hairline. It's going to be intense for me this entire week. We have no code mentors except me, I don't think. And if you have any questions at all, if you have any concerns at all, hit me up. I'm going to help you. Get your app deployed, get debugging done, all of that. We have office hours set. We have we have basically, you know those guys from Pirates of the Caribbean, the ghost ship, the crew that's just like locked into the ship and can't get out? That's pretty much me for the rest of the week on Discord and Zoom. So I am at your service. If you have questions, please use this format to get good answers to your technical questions. And if somebody asks a question, please, you're not going to earn any points for it, but please help them out. It's a great way to make friends. It's a great way to grow your network this early in your career. And it's a great way to honestly get good karma. I think a lot of my success and Navi's success has come from just having good karma because we help so many people. So just answer people's questions, and I think you'll go really far, because those friendships and those connections that you'll make from answering technical questions, that's going to help a lot. I am also going to be answering career questions, so it's not just technical. This is a hiring hackathon. We have a program full of stuff. Because of technical issues, we haven't been able to put it up yet, but we will be putting it up soon. It's not just coding. There are also other events that we're announcing as well during the hackathon. One of them is already up. If you go over and you register for Unicorn Thursdays, this event is our networking event. It's extremely popular. It's extremely fun. I know most people say their networking events are fun. I've never seen a networking event run this way. And I know I'm kind of tooting my own horn, but I've never seen a networking event run this way. Everybody loves it. It's actually really intimate, and it's on Zoom, so you don't have to go to any fancy platforms, and you don't have to download stuff or learn a new platform. It's all on Zoom, super simple, and you actually end up making real friendships. And that's happening on this Thursday. That's 3 p.m. Eastern and 12 p.m. Pacific. And you Mountain and Central Time folks, you can calculate. I think you guys are used to that, unfortunately. That's all I got, Navi. Can I pass it over to you? And you want to take it over here?
Yeah, I actually wanted you to maybe talk about the challenge a little bit. When we were collaborating on the challenge and coming up with ideas of, hey, what should our challenge for the last challenge of the year look like? What's a winning submission for you? Like what?
Great question. Great question. Thank you for bringing that up. So in the resources tab, there's an achievable application inspirations section. And I'm going to go over those right now. So I found 3 really good concepts on CodePen, which I really love, by the way. They really spruced up their UX UI recently. It's really cool. Here's some of the ideas that you can draw from. None of these are like the truth. We don't have the truth. We have creative constraints. And the constraints that we have are, as a user, I can drag my mouse across the screen to make freeform lines, or as a user, I can click areas of my screen with my mouse to fill them with a color, texture, or pattern. So those are the only requirements over here. And based on those requirements, this one would be a pretty good beginner project. I'm sure a lot of you have done something like this, either in your boot camps, or you've done this as a self-taught developer. And this is one idea. Here's another idea. This is drawing from dots. And this is basically just a canvas with dots. And I'm just like freeforming an eye over here. So you can actually like kind of freeform. It's kind of impressionistic. I'll accept that. It's not freeform lines, but I'll accept that as a submission. And here's another possibility. Here's a coloring book where you can choose the color, and you can you can paint the rabbit, or you can paint you can paint the rabbit in whatever colors you want. This person has also offered a lot of optional SVGs. The nice thing about these is that all of the code is available for you. So you can go and you can take a look at the code, and this will give you a solid reference for you to start building your app. I would not recommend plagiarizing, simply because you're basically going to end up building something really simple. And if I find out that it's plagiarized, it's hard for me to really give you a mid-bean star at that point. But there's nothing stopping you from taking the code, making it your own, and then expanding on it. And if it's a significant expansion, that's totally fine. I mean, this is not an academic setting. This is a professional setting, and we're trying to build an application. So as long as you build something that looks and feels good and is mostly your own, questions about plagiarism always come up. I say, look, don't worry about it. If it's like a basic plagiarized app, I'm not going to give it a star. That's the worst that's going to happen. If it's a plagiarized app, but you've expanded it significantly, that's worth a star. Like, it's not plagiarism at that point. At that point, you're taking inspiration, or you're taking code snippets that are available online, and you're doing stuff that you would do on the job anyway. So this is a professional setting. If you use professional techniques to build an application, I'm totally cool with it. But yeah, if you just like copy paste an app, I'm not going to give you a star. So that's how this works. Here are a few advanced examples. Agi or hi.
Sorry, before you go on to the advanced examples, I wanted to ask you another question. How would someone who has a designer on their team take advantage of the designer? How would someone who doesn't have a designer on their team still try to get the mint bean star while working with the limitation of not having a designer?
Great question. If you follow the rubric, you'll get the star, regardless of whether you have a designer or not. So we don't put massive weight on having a designer, but having a designer will help you get a job because it's a portfolio piece. And if you have the advantage of a designer, it's going to help you get a job, which is, honestly, this is a game, right? This entire hackathon is a game. It's a platform for you to get ahead, but the real challenge is getting a job. And if you work with a designer, on one hand, you're giving them the opportunity to get so if you're a developer and you're working with a designer, let's start with that. You're going to help them bring their vision to life. You'll be getting the advantage of having a polished, beautiful application that's well thought out. Developers are not designers. And I mean that with the utmost compassion because I'm a developer and I have a little bit of design sense, not a lot. The magic that a designer can work on your application is something else, and it's something to be experienced. So if you don't have a designer, put feelers out, reach out in your own bootcamp, reach out in your network and get people to come in. Registrations do not close until the end of the hackathon. So people can register even at the last minute. I don't know what good it'll do them, but they can register up until the last minute. So if you don't have a designer and you don't find anybody in MintBean, you can go and find one in your bootcamp. For designers, well, I don't think you'll be able to compete if you don't have a team. But there are probably more developers than designers over here. If you put yourself out there and you try and find a team, you'll find a team. And also, if you're coming from a bootcamp and you don't have a team, tell your career coach, tell your instructors that there's a hackathon going on. Is there an alumnus or a group of alumni who are looking for work that might be interested in building a simple application this week? It's not a full-time thing. You can do this part-time. Get a developer from either your network or from the MintBean community. If you don't have a network like you're self-taught, then walk over to MintBean's Discord. I hope you guys are on Discord. Show of hands, just drop it in chat. Actually, if you're not in Discord, you say I'm not in the Discord yet, and somebody will probably help you out with the link. So just drop it in chat if you're not in the Discord yet. If you're in this, once you're in the Discord, on the left-hand side, go down to Find a Buddy, and in Find a Buddy, there's a bunch of people looking for designers, looking for developers. It's basically a board. It's basically a job board at this point. Thank you, Danielle, for dropping the Discord link. I will drop it as well. Actually, Navi, do you mind helping out so I can continue with the video? Appreciate it. Thank you, appreciate it. So just drop, I am a blank, looking for a blank. I like doing blank, and I think people will respond if you make it, fun and inviting. And if this is not an option for you, or you've done this, you haven't had any luck, well, you're in luck. We have a networking round right after this orientation is over. So in about 5 minutes or so, we're going to be finishing orientation, and in another 15 minutes after that, we're going to be doing an opt-in only networking round for people who really want to be there. We do it opt-in so that people who don't want to be there aren't dragging down the room and themselves. We only want people who actually have committed the time to do this and or really want to meet people. Like, we don't want to drag you into this. So there's a separate Zoom room. If you're interested in networking with other developers and possibly hiring managers and recruiters, and myself and Navi, just keep an eye on the announcements channel and Discord, and we'll be dropping the link to the next Zoom room.
It starts at 2, not in 5 minutes.
There you go. So it starts in 25 minutes from now. So we have time, or possibly you'll run out of time. So sorry if that's the case. Yeah.
Sorry,
Great question. Great question. Melody asked a great question. I need to address this. How much research are UX designers expected to conduct? 0. So you're probably not going to be doing research on people. You don't have time to actually interview anyone. If you want to interview people, I think you should do it really fast in like the first half a day. Like by the end of today, you should do like fast interviews. But it's not appropriate for you to actually do a full user interview. It's not appropriate for you to do that in this setting. It's probably appropriate for you to go and do secondhand research on Reddit. Do secondhand research by looking at competitive apps, existing apps that do what you wanted to do. And talk to your developers and get your developers to tell you what's possible, what's not possible. Have a tight loop with your developers and figure out what's possible, not possible, and then use UX design patterns to make your app as polished as possible. So skip the user research part and do secondhand research, talk to your developers, and build something that's feasible. in the real world, usually designers, yes, they talk to the user a little bit here and there, but really in the real world, the user research bit is a little overemphasized in an academic setting because your instructors want the best for you and they want to equip you with the tools that you need to do the job well. But most designers that I know don't really talk to users at all. They look at data, they talk to the product manager, they get requirements, and they translate those requirements into a design. So the product manager is usually the person talking to actual users. Yeah, but not always. I would say about 70% of the time. 30% of designers definitely do talk to users. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Navi, did I miss anything?
No, that was really good. There's tons of questions. I feel like because a lot of developers that are coming in for this hackathon have never worked with, might have never worked with designers. So there's just kind of some industry standards that I kind of wanted to go over. But you had some design examples that I interrupted you from. So let's go back to that.
Oh, these are just, this is not much. It's just advanced examples of products which you can take inspiration from. This is probably really helpful for everyone, but especially people with designers on the team. Here's agi.io. This is a collaborative painting app. I can click start drawing, and it gives me a Photoshop style layered layout where I can actually draw stuff, create layers, draw more stuff, etc. And there's a way to actually share this as well. Now, I haven't fully explored the app, but they promise sharing. I'm sure they do. You can click invite, and then I guess it copies the link to your clipboard, and somebody else can hop in and start drawing with you. Yep. So it's a shared full stack canvas. This is a great user experience. This is really cool, but it's super advanced, as you can see. This is not attainable by junior developers at all. But if you just do the drawing pad, no colors, nothing, and your developers are full stack and they can actually build a backend using WebSockets, then having a shared canvas is actually pretty achievable. And that's something that that your developers would be able to do. So this is here as an advanced example. There's also free coloring pages. This one's really annoying because it has music on the page. So if you have people who would get mad at you for having a musical page, like maybe a baby, yeah, if you have any kids, maybe young kids, don't click on these. They're very loud, and they have that really annoying customer service line wait time thing music. So just a heads up, but
Michael
it's a good example.
Michael says there's a mute function, but I think
Where?
some people like I was gonna say, oh, it says mute site. I was gonna say that the first thing that I would do when working in a team is probably take an inventory count of just kind of like the strengths of the designer, the strengths of the developers, whether this application is going to be more front end focused, this application is going to be full stack, this application is going to be front end. There's lots of ways that you can skin this cat and make it look beautiful. You know, when Monarch was pitching this challenge, what I had sort of visualized was almost like a storybook, like, you know, those coloring books that you get from chapters where, and they were like, it was a big trend, I think, in the last couple of years, or maybe 5, where you get to paint by numbers. So something like that is what I visualized. You might have visualized something else. So start with the inventory count, and then maybe like, hey, what is the vision of the application? And is that feasible by the team that you guys are in?
Okay. Sorry, I just got caught up making ghosts on this page. Okay, great. So Adisu just sent me, yes, pretty depression indeed. Okay, great. So I think we're in a pretty good spot. Navi, was there anything else that we need to do before we let these beautiful people go?
I think we're opening the floor to Q&A before we let everyone go. So we still have 20 minutes, but we wanted to give everybody 10 minutes before the networking session starts. So really, if we can get Q&A done in 10, that would be awesome. But if you guys need more time, then of course, we're happy to help. So I'm gonna open up. I think this might be a good time to stop the YouTube feed.
No, actually keep it on. Keep it on. Let's do the Q&A on YouTube.
I'm just wondering if everyone feels comfortable sharing their audio. If I can just get some, just a quick yay or nay in chat. Joshua's having problem claiming yay. Okay, no issues. Okay, cool. I'm just going to
if you have an issue, please leave. Sorry. So, okay, cool. So Q&A. Let's start Q&A. First question from Marcella. Sorry, I know that there are other questions from up above and they've all gotten drowned at this point. If you have a question, please drop it in chat. If you're thinking it, somebody else is thinking it, and you'll be helping everybody out. Will there be a networking session after the hackathon to meet hiring managers and recruiters? Yes, there will be one today at 2 o'clock Eastern. That's 11 a.m. Pacific and 12 Mountain, 1 Central. So in about 15 minutes, basically. There's also one on Thursday. So we call the Thursday one Unicorn Thursdays because a lot of developers aren't just developers. They actually have sales skills or design skills, et cetera, et cetera. So Unicorn Thursdays happens on Thursday, whether you count yourself as a unicorn or not, doesn't matter. Show up on that. It's a lot of fun. You get to meet a bunch of people. There was another question. What frameworks are allowed? Any, as long as you're not using a professional game dev framework like Unity. We disallow Unity and Unreal because it's just not fair, because the quality of applications that'll come out of those is just going to be something else, and it's not fair to people who are using JavaScript. So we don't allow professional game dev frameworks. Godot or Godot, however you want to pronounce it. I like Godot. Godot is not allowed. And yeah. So, and yeah, vanilla is totally allowed. You can use React, you can use Vue, Svelte, Redwood, whatever you want. Is pixel-based art allowed? Yes, absolutely. Pixel art is totally allowed. If you want to build like a 64 by 64 grid, you can totally do that, like a pixel art generator. If I can't find a team, is it okay to do a solo project? Absolutely, yes. Are there any limits on packages or libraries? Nope. As long as you're not using the aforementioned game dev frameworks, no limits at all.
Can I just say something about the solo project? Some of the most successful projects that I've seen in the 90-something hackathons have always been solo projects. That says something about team communication. But yeah, solo is definitely fine. But team is always nice.
Team, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So this session was useful. Can we do pixel-based artwork? Yes, you can. Suggestions on where to get access to pictures to color. If we do a coloring book, are we expected to draw the pictures ourselves? There's SVG porn, which is a really good SVG source. If you don't misspell it or put a space between SVG and the other word, you'll be fine. So SVG porn is really good. You can basically source any SVG. So the trick about SVG is that SVG is basically XML. So it's a cousin of HTML. So if you get an SVG file, you can open it up, assign IDs to each element, and then you can, like, when you click on that element, you can color it. You can add it like a fill or a stroke to that element based on ID or based on the event target. So SVG is probably the best way to do it. So any SVG source is probably really great. If you're not using SVG, that's fine too. But just thought I'd throw that out there. So Andre is in the middle of a coding challenge. If you don't start till tomorrow, yeah, you can start even last minute, although you won't get much done. So as long as you submit on time, doesn't matter. If your friends were not able to join today, that's fine. They can still join, even if they watch this on YouTube. That's totally fine. You can help them on board. Tell your friends, tell your classmates, tell your career coaches that the hackathon just started. We still have time to add people to our groups and also for solo projects. So definitely. And even if they're not participating in the hackathons, the sequence of events this week is going to be great, including Unicorn Thursdays. There are a handful of other events as well that are going to be super useful. So definitely get your friends. There's still a lot of time to join. Can the designer code too? That's a great question. Yeah, you know what? In that case, you're a dev, right? So yeah, absolutely. You can absolutely just be a solo designer dev. Does it have to be mobile friendly? Not necessarily. I do recommend that it be mobile friendly, but not necessarily. 3JS is totally fine. Daniel Brown, past solo winner. Hello, welcome back. If we are unable to finish before the deadline, is there a way we can get our projects checked after the deadline? Not really, unfortunately. You do have to finish before the deadline, but a lot of people do finish after the deadline because they were in the middle of the project and they're having fun. You won't get a mint bean star, but you can absolutely still put it up and use it as a portfolio piece. And I would actually recommend you do that. So if you go over the deadline by a couple of days, you still have half a project that it's in your best interest to finish as a portfolio piece and as a talking point. I mean, it's better to say, I didn't do this on deadline, but I was in a hackathon than not say anything at all. You know, like when you say you participated in a hackathon, hiring managers want to talk to you. It's a huge deal. I'm sure you've heard this from many other people, but take it from me, we run these a lot. And the amount of interest in junior devs who do hackathons as opposed to junior devs who don't do hackathons, there's like world of a difference. So even if you finish after the deadline, talk about it on LinkedIn and use that as a portfolio piece. And Twitter. Twitter is great because all of the cool companies and all of the core engineers from cool companies are on Twitter. On LinkedIn, you'll find hiring managers from all the companies and a lot of recruiters, but the engineers all hang out on Twitter. Hint, hint. Andre, I didn't say, okay. How do we join the networking session? A link will be provided. Navi, is there any more instruction on how to join?
Yep, dropping the link. I dropped it earlier. I will drop it again.
Are we just clicking on the link in here? Like, that's a little awkward because they have to leave here in order to join that one.
That one doesn't start until 2. I'll also drop it in an announcement.
Oh, it's a registration link. Okay, perfect. So you can register for it right now. Perfect.
Also,
Wood publishing.
I have a bunch of, sorry, this week has kind of been a little bit crazy. The program guide, we still are going to be releasing that by the end of the day. There's a bunch of workshops that we're going to be hosting for the rest of the week. Some of them are going to have to do with resume tips. Monarch, do you want to kind of go over that a little bit? Because we talked about it and I know it's not in the program guide, but it's going to be there very soon.
Yep, I'll go over some of the items that we have. So we have resume review workshops. We have Thursday networking session. We have a session on how to be hyper efficient in your job search. So how to apply to 20 jobs in 1 hour. It's probably one of the highest impact workshops that I give. That happens on Friday, I think. So I will. I'm coding on these days. I'll be available every day for debugging and talking about stuff and just shooting the shit, to be honest. Oh, am I supposed to say it? Oh, wait, I'm not on NBC. No, I can say shit. Okay, good. There's also a submission party on Tuesday. So I'm just going to be on Twitter Spaces on Tuesday talking to people who are submitting their project, helping them out. That's going to be on Twitter Spaces. Yeah, Twitter's kind of a big deal in the engineering world. Just a heads up. Like, LinkedIn is cool. Actually, it's not. It's useful, but Twitter is cool.
Mark is really opinionated, guys. Like, he says it as it is, and honestly, I try to kind of, put a red tape on some of the stuff that comes out of his mouth. But like, LinkedIn is you know what? LinkedIn is probably the most friendliest platform that I've ever used. But Twitter is is definitely more engineer friendly. I'll give it that.
Cry freedom and let's lift the birds of chaos, I guess. I mean, Twitter's pretty chaotic. Anyway, coming back. What other questions do we have? Anything? When is the submit date time frame? Tuesday next week. And there's a bit of a buffer. I don't recommend you depend on the buffer, but there is a bit of a hidden buffer over there, just a heads up. And my team and I are looking for a designer. Good people are looking for designers. You can host it on CodePen. Yes, you can host it on CodePen. You can also host your application on Vercel, Netlify, Heroku, GitHub, as long as it's accessible on port 443 for SSL connections and port 80 for non-SSL connections, you're gold. So it doesn't really matter. Is Phaser.js allowed? Yes, Phaser is allowed. Will you get more credit? Nope. If you work solo, you do not get more credit if you work solo. But working solo gives you a lot of nimbleness. Nimbleness, is that a word? Nimbleness and agility. So working solo is its own kind of game. It's a strategic decision. Do we declare our team somewhere now or at the end? You declare your team at the end when you submit. Is there anything we can't do? You can't use professional game dev frameworks like Unity or Unreal. If you're in doubt, hit me up on Discord. I can't answer DMs, unfortunately, because Mintbean has grown recently and the DMs just don't work anymore. I used to be available on DMs, but you can absolutely tag me on public Discord, and chances are somebody else will help you out, pay it forward. Somebody else might be able to help you out. That helps lighten my load. Feel free to tag me and I'll get back to you if nobody else got back to you. Can we use drawing APIs? Yep, you can use drawing APIs. What do you recommend if you don't feel confident and are having your doubts about your abilities during the hackathon? Oh boy, okay. There are two types of developers. One dev just breezes through the hackathon, and that's like in the 20%, the top 20% of devs. Okay, the top 1%ers of devs, they just breeze through the hackathon, no problem. But most devs end up having struggles, issues, problems, self-doubt, bugs they don't think they can fix, and that causes them to give up. That's why the community is there. So if you're having self-doubt, it is normal. A hackathon is meant to be a little intense. We try and make it as unintense as possible. We try and make it as friendly as possible. But you're still building a project that's kind of, it's meaty. I won't say it's complicated, but it's got some kinks, it's got some quirks. And if you don't feel confident, dude, you are, or dudette, or however you identify, you just reach out to me and I'll try and help you through it. So don't worry about it. And even if you just want a pep talk, reach out to me. Don't worry, I'm here to be your psychotherapist, your code mentor, your fellow engineer, your rubber ducky. Like I'm here. I am glued to Discord and Zoom all of this week. So just hit me up, tag me in public on Discord, and I'll try and get on a voice call with you on Discord. There are also office hours, which will be announced every day, almost every day. Do you have a dog Wednesday? Oh, I wish we had a cat Tuesday. No, we don't have a dog Wednesday. We only have unicorn Thursdays. And can you add a link to Thursday's session? Yes, there's a link to Thursday. You can go to mintbean.io for the Thursday session. Sean asked, last time the deadline was Tuesday, the grading didn't happen until Friday and we could still code till then. Is it going to be the same timetable? The deadline might be shorter or it might be longer. So don't depend on the buffer. So the the final Tuesday to the Friday after, that's like grace period. Don't depend on it. Sometimes we lengthen it, sometimes we shorten it. So don't depend on it. Try and submit by Tuesday. I promise you there will be at least 1 day of grace, but don't depend on the grace period. It's a very tricky place to be. Because yeah, like support starts dropping. I start becoming less available. So don't depend on the grace period. Let's see. Just Nora. Oh yeah.
Wait, Monarch, Binkle said something really good. Don't forget about your mental health. It's the most important thing. I could not agree more. Pace yourself. You have an entire week. Communicate effectively with your team. I know Monarch's already said this, that you can go fast if you're working by yourself, but you'll go far if you're working in a team. And if you've never worked in a tech team setting, this is probably one of the best experiences. Just learning how other people collaborate. What are some of the strengths of other individuals? What are your own weaknesses? It's teamwork is amazing once you get it right. So
I absolutely agree. And your mental health is super important. Like, okay, here's a personal story. I'm going for a meditation retreat in December, and I am nervous about it because it's kind of like a hackathon in reverse. Like in a hackathon, you turn on your brain as much as possible. In a meditation retreat, it's almost the opposite. It's my first one. It's a week long, and I am nervous as hell because it's going to be intense. I know I'm going to have a tough time, but I'm going to be looking at all of the people that I've mentored in the hackathons. And if there's one thing that I've learned, it's that when you start having self-doubts or you get to a tough point, pushing through it works for somebody. For some people, it works to push through it. For other people, it works to kind of push around it, like take a break, take care of your mental health, slow down, skip a day, skip 2 days. And I'm kind of in the same spot as you guys are. I'm a beginner meditator. I haven't been doing it for as long as everybody else in my group has. And that retreat is going to be intense. So yeah, everybody goes through learning curves. We're all beginners at something or the other. And the beginner's journey is all the same. You're going to go through a valley of despair. Everybody goes through it. It's normal. And everybody goes through it to everybody goes through it when they're doing something new. There's nothing to be ashamed of. If you're having a tough time, hit me up. I'll try and help you out the best I can. And if not me, I'm sure there are other people as well who can hop in. If you don't feel comfortable approaching me, and I know a lot of people feel intimidated because I'm this MC or senior developer or whatever. But reach out. Like we're all here, we're all friends, and we're all here to help each other. Clay, is Mint Bean sponsoring pizza for lunch? I wish. I wish. I'm sponsoring my own pizza for lunch. How about that? And can we use a designer who's not part of the hackathon? I guess, but why would he want to? I mean, why not include them in the hackathon? And oh, I think that's time. Okay, it's 2:00. We got to go.
It's 2:00. I have my computer set on audio because I often need to be reminded what time it is. So I'm super excited for y'all to try this challenge. I think it's going to be really interesting. I think we're going to see a lot of creative challenges. I'm going to be releasing the entire program by EOD. There's going to be a lot of fun workshops. If you registered for the event, you'll see an email as well. So you'll kind of get notifications that way. We're starting the networking session now. I think maybe we'll give everyone 5-10 minutes, 5 or 10. What's appropriate?
How about we just start?
Or that.